Assessment to Solutions, Phase 5 Video, Execute. Introduction. Phase 5 of the Assessment to Solutions process is Execute. During this phase, executing the improvements and evaluating progress, as you move towards the goals of the action plan, the following should be considered. The teams executing improvements should be inclusive of the workforce. Make sure those responsible for making the improvements clearly understand the goals. As may be necessary during the process, conduct focus groups, observations, etc. to validate the efforts being undertaken. Ensure those executing the improvements have appropriate skill sets and authority to put plan into action. Once the organization starts executing the improvements, the commander or designated unit members entrusted will monitor the improvements, focusing on impact to the unit mission. Hold individuals accountable for accomplishing the steps that were assigned to them in the process. Meet periodically to evaluate the need to make adjustments to the action plan when milestones are not met, or when the intended consequences of the step are not realized. Receive feedback and adjust as necessary. Leaders should follow a continual improvement process strategy towards the desired end state. In review of the 5-phase process, we can see that by completing your climate assessment, you have characterized the organization's current state. The DEOCS, focus groups, interviews, observations, and records review, as necessary, have all been conducted. The current state should include a list of conditions and concerns identified during the assessment that leadership seeks to improve. These conditions can involve or impact people, equipment, processes, materials, and the environment. When developing strategies to resolve these conditions, you must identify how you intend to implement changes, what each change is designed to accomplish, and who will be responsible for making each change happen. As you begin employing these strategies and executing improvements, remember that the desired end state is a moving target with many moving parts. Keeping this in mind, you will first need to closely monitor your successes and evaluate your progress in completing each step of the plan. At the same time, it is important to keep in mind how you define success. Some steps may be considered successful when conditions change incrementally for the better, even though they do not achieve the desired end state. For example, if an organization suffers a manning shortage, an action step that increases the number of personnel can improve the end state, even if the optimal number of personnel are not immediately hired. Some level of progress is being attained. You will need to monitor the action plan's impact on the conditions you seek to change. To accomplish this, you will likely need to repeatedly reevaluate your current state after executing specific improvements in the action plan. This will provide you with a gauge of your progress. Based on the results of your evaluation of each step, you may need to modify that strategy. Identifying if and how you may need to modify each strategy relies on successfully identifying those factors that can hamper success, including barriers that can often include logistical snags that prevent you from executing an action plan step, and resistance that can be created by members of the organization who avoid change and prefer the status quo. They may view change as a threat. You must validate the action plan's effectiveness. It will be necessary to reevaluate progress throughout the process. While most steps in the action plan possess easily predicted outcomes, surprises can nonetheless sometimes emerge. Remain aware of changes, both positive and negative, caused by the action plan step, and be ready to adjust your approach accordingly. Methods to validate the effectiveness of your plan would be through targeted focus groups and observations of specific areas addressed in the plan. Look at the impact the plan had on mission effectiveness. Look at tangible, measurable areas to see improvements. If any of your action plan step fails to accomplish the improvements you had hoped for, you'll need to modify your approach. be ready to create alternative strategies as needed when the original ones you tried don't pan out. It's important to note the iterative component to Phase 5. The most effective organizations will cycle through continuous evaluation steps after the action plan is implemented. In the end, a successfully executed action plan will address and resolve organizational issues, contributing to a healthier, more effective organization. For more information on this phase and other phases, go to www.deocs.net and view the detailed guides.